Hello, my lovely viewers. It is currently 8:58 on March 31st, which means it is Eid Day, and I have just been to 3 other people's houses, and I have a headache. But you know what I also did, other than eating and getting money? I finished reading Animal Farm. Woohoo! You can probably tell that I'm very tired, but I do want to not get it over with, but I just want to do quickly get out my thoughts on Animal Farm and the hypocrisy that is a rebellion. So Animal Farm is about, there's a farm owned by this guy, and he's mistreating all his animals. He's a very abusive farm owner, and then the animals plan a rebellion, and then they win, and then so the animals basically kick the farm owner out of his own farm, and then they basically made their own kind of republic and system for themselves. And so they they take care of the farm themselves, they make the food themselves, they clean the place themselves, and then they basically have this structured society without any humans. And it's whoa, liberation, yay. But again, this is me talking about the hypocrisy of rebellion. And what that means is, a lot of the time when you see a rebellion in any type of media, if this rebellion goes on for so long, you'll eventually see yourself becoming the enemy. And this is applicable to a lot of fictional stories, but it's also applicable to real life history. So that's the conversation we're going to be having today in my very tired state. Let's talk about the rebellion in Animal Farm. So honestly, I don't know which animal is which. I know the names of the animals, but I don't know what type of animal are they. I didn't even realize Boxer was a horse. I thought he was a bull. Maybe he is a bull. Wait, I honestly don't know. I don't know what he is. I didn't even realize Clover was a horse. I thought Clover was a sheep or a lamb. He. Can you tell I'm so out of it? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. But anyways, so let's talk about the general timeline of the rebellion in Animal Farm. So at the start, it's very not innocent, but it's very true to their words. They're trying to create a better life for the animals compared to when they had their abusive human owner. And so at first, everything was going great. All the animals were sharing equal job, equal labor, based on the type of animal's capacity and their personal strength. And then they all had equal food, and they all had equal treatment. And then they had these 7 commandments. And I can't pull up the 7 commandments because it's in my phone, and I'm recording with my phone. But the general gist is oh, what was it, huh? There was one about no animals shall sleep on a bed. No animal shall harm another animal. No animal shall drink alcohol. And then the main thing is 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. So that's the general kind of not rules. I guess it is rules. It's called the 7 commandments. So they're the general rules that are established in Animal Farm. And then along with this, they have this song called Beasts of England, where the song's lyrics inspires rebellion and a dream of a better life and a better future. So at first, everything is going well, the Animal Farm run by animals alone is actually working quite well. The animals are learning how to read, they're learning how to do all these things they can do, and then life is looking amazing. But then the leadership, or the potential for leadership, was challenged. So you have oh my god, I forgot character's name, but there's this one animal who was the first, not person, it's an animal, the first animal to like inspire rebellion among all the other animals. I think his name was Old Major. I might be wrong. We're gonna call him Old Major, even though I might be wrong. So who I think Old Major is, in his old age, gathers all the animals and like gives this speech about rebellion, and then all the animals feel inspired. And although in Old Major's speech he didn't specify how long or when this rebellion would take, as long as it happens, as long as the animals strive for it. And so when the rebellion happened, one of the prominent figures was Napoleon, who is a pig, and he inspires a lot of like, yes, he's just a very inspirational figure among all the animals, and like he's very wise and old, and like it's said like he could like inspire the entire farm of animals by just saying a short speech, and then all the animals would be like so touched and stuff. And a while after this rebellion, there's conversations on building a windmill, you know? If by building this windmill, the animal farm can run on electricity. They can have warm beds, warm food, and like warm water, and like better quality everything. But this suggestion for a windmill was not given by Napoleon. No. It's given by Snowball, who I think is also a pig, but I don't know if he is actually a pig. I'm just gonna assume he's a pig. And so, because of Snowball's suggestion, all the animals are like, you know what, yeah, you're right, we should have a windmill, because this could be a good idea. But Napoleon says, no, nah, gang, we shouldn't have a windmill. It's not gonna be good for us. And, you know, in the nature that is Napoleon, all the animals start siding with him. And as much as Snowball tries to argue and plead his case, all the animals side with Napoleon. But you know what Napoleon does? In the end, he says to build the windmill anyway. And this is a not running theme. Like, you'll see this happen often throughout the book, where Napoleon will turn down another person's idea, but then bring it up again, as if it was his own original idea. And so this is basically the start of the end. Throughout the book, we see how the pigs and the dogs start having a higher power compared to all the other animals. Oh, something that was also established early on was the statement, all animals are equal. And so, you know, you would assume, like, okay, all animals are equal. All animals deserve to be treated equally. But then you see how the pigs start getting special treatment. They start getting more rations because, you know, they're the brain of this operation, quotation mark. They're the animal who needs more food to get the brain running, you know? Do you guys really want our old farm owner to come back? Is that really what you want to happen? So obviously with this line, all the animals are going to say, no, of course not. And so they let it slide that the pigs get more food. But another circumstance happens. The pigs start sleeping in beds. Wasn't that one of the 7 commandments? No animal shall lay upon a bed? Oh, no, you've got it all wrong, says one of the pigs. No animal shall lay upon a bed with sheets. A hay can be a bed, and a mattress can be a bed. As long as it doesn't have a sheet, all is well. And, you know, most of the animals there can't read, and so they can't really confirm nor deny what the pigs are saying. And then so the pigs lay on beds. So interesting. But you know what? We'll let it slide. They're the brain of this operation. They've got to look through files and documents and like organize the entire farm, right? It's okay. But then, after... Oh, another thing that happens is that there was 2 circumstances where humans invaded the farm, and then there's basically a battle. So after the second of these battles, the pigs go to the wine cellar and get drunk. Wait, hold on, backtrack. Wasn't that one of the 7 commandments? No animal shall drink alcohol? Oh, no, you've got it all wrong. No animal shall drink alcohol excessively. Okay. Hold on, wait, what? What's this new rule you just put up? Alcohol is banned from the animals? No animal shall drink alcohol? Oh, no animal except the pigs? The pigs can drink alcohol? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. You guys are the brain of this operation. We don't want our old farm owner to come back. No, that would be worse. Don't we see a pattern here, guys? Isn't that so interesting? And then, another commandment was no animal shall kill another animal. But when it was revealed that animals were plotting against Napoleon, because he might actually be some, I don't know, some weird tyrant, dictator, corruption, And so when these animals confess of their crimes, they get killed in front of other animals by animals. But wait, wasn't that one of the commandments? Oh, no animal shall kill another animal without reason. Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense. There was reason to kill those animals. They were plotting against Napoleon. They deserved it. Right? Yeah, they deserved it. And then in the end, it is so sick. In the end, the pigs, they breed, and then there's like, wow, there's a lot of pigs. And why is it that as time goes on, our rations grow smaller, but the pigs get fatter? And oh my god, is that a pig standing on 2 legs? And then the sheep start chanting, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. But it was already too late to do anything about it. The pigs had already gone back to their barn. And so in the end, the pigs meet up with all the human farmers around them, and they have a nice chat of playing poker or whatever card game they were playing. They're drinking alcohol and they're toasting for the prosperity of Animal Farm. What? Oh, it's not called Animal Farm anymore? The Manor Farm. They're toasting for the prosperity of the Manor Farm. Isn't the Manor Farm the name of the farm when they still had a human owner? Oh, they decide to return it because they think okay. And so in the end, as the animals gaze in to the meeting between pigs and humans, they can't really tell which is which. And that is such a sick line for an ending. Oh my god. And so what does this prove? What does this tell us? Well, it tells us my earlier statement. If rebellion goes on for so long, you'll eventually see yourself becoming the enemy. This is Nadin the morning after, and I'm going to continue talking about the hypocrisy of rebellion, but from examples we can see from other pieces of media. So the ones I'm going to be talking about is The Last of Us and The Hunger Games. So in The Last of Us, it's set during like a post-apocalyptic world. Zombies have taken over and people are being controlled by the military under the pretenses of keeping them safe. And it's important to note that during the storyline of The Last of Us, it's 20 years after the apocalypse, and there's still a rebellion. Like, after 20 years, you haven't done anything to show, like, any real damage or any real impact as a proof to your cause. So you should start to get concerned, right? And then so we have our main rebellion group in The Last of Us Part 1. We have the Fireflies. And they've been going at it for so long now, and you'd think that their cause would, like, I don't know, die out. And it sort of is, like, by the end of The Last of Us Part 1. And so, since the Fireflies have been going for so long, it's not a surprise when we see at the end of The Last of Us Part 1, they sort of start to lose their own morality. And this is most obvious when you have Ellie, an immune girl, and, you know, like, the entirety of The Last of Us Part 1 is, like, trying to get Ellie to these Fireflies so they can, you know, study her blood and, like, make a cure. But then when we learn that, to make a cure that we don't even know is gonna work or is even possible to be made, we need to study her brain. We gotta, like, pull it apart. We gotta, like, put it under some lenses, and then obviously it's gonna mean that Ellie's gonna have to give her life for this potential cure that we don't even know is gonna work. And then the people in this Firefly base don't even stop to think whether this is, like, morally okay. Are we really gonna put this girl's life for, like, a potential cure we don't even know is gonna work, we don't even know is effective? And in the end, it's really not gonna give that much difference, because it's 20 years after the apocalypse. The world has gone to shambles. Every single country, every single piece of land there has already been touched by these zombies. What more can you do to prevent anything, really? And, like, in the end, these Fireflies, even if they do eventually make a cure, they're just going to use it for themselves. They're just going to use it selfishly for their own cause. They're not going to go and help other people, because why would they, you know? And so you kind of see where this is going. Like, they're looking a lot like their old oppressors who just want to benefit other people for their own cause, and they're not really helping others like they claim to be. And so that's kind of like the pipeline you're gonna see a lot when it comes to rebellion. And as for the Hunger Games, do we have a lot to talk about. So the Hunger Games is set in, like, dystopian America, where America is divided into districts. There's 13 districts and one capital. But we only regard to 12 districts when it comes to the actual Hunger Games, because District 13 is its own story and it's, like, separated. Like, people basically think District 13 is dead, gone, nobody lives there. And then so the capital reaps 2 people from each district to go and fight to the death. How exciting. And of course, in the story of the Hunger Games, you see how Katniss Everdeen inspires a rebellion among the people. And then by the 3rd book, we learn that District 13 isn't actually gone and buried. We learn that there's been a secret rebellion brewing in 13, and they've been prepping for years now. And they're led by their leader, Alma Coin. Now, Miss Alma Coin is a very manipulative leader. Like, she doesn't have the same impression as President Snow, because, you know, her atrocities to the world haven't been revealed. But in all honesty, by the end of the story, Alma Coin isn't any better than President Snow. If I'm being honest, I think President Snow is like just like a tad bit better than Alma Coin, just because President Snow doesn't lie. Like, he makes it like a core value of his to not lie, and that I can respect. But like, Alma Coin is downright just manipulative. Like, she's manipulative to the people following her, she's manipulative to the people who are working with her, she's manipulative to Katniss. Like, and in the end, she manages to like nearly grasp on to the amount of power that Snow had, and it's frightening to think of how things might not actually change if Alma Coin had been the president for Panem. And I say this because I'm just gonna mention, there's so much proof to back up my statement, but I'm not gonna state it all. But one thing that's very, very clear is during the end, when the districts finally win over the capital, President Alma Coin offers to have a symbolic Hunger Games, if you will. A Hunger Games held, but with the capital's children. And she's obviously doing this with the intention of putting President Snow's granddaughter in the games. And then you're like, isn't that the thing we've been fighting this entire time? Like, wasn't the goal to stop the Hunger Games from happening, and now you want to hold a symbolic Hunger Games with these children who haven't done anything? And it's like, are you even better than President Snow? Are you even better than President Snow, Miss Alma Coin? And so, like, the clear message we should get from this, from any kind of story of rebellion, from Animal Farm, Hunger Games, The Last of Us, is that it is so easy to fall into the steps of your enemy, but with the justification of doing it for your own cause. So with that justification, you'll feel like, oh, I can do this because I'm doing this for my own good, for my own people's good, and not under the oppression and the abuse of another person. But like, that's not any better if you're not changing your ways. If the way you're treated when you still had an oppressor, and the way you treat other people without the oppressor, kind of just makes it seem like the leader of the rebellion becomes the oppressor. And it's like, it's just so easy. Like, now that we read through these stories, it's so easy to be manipulated and basically like accidentally, no matter how honest or innocent the cause was, it's so easy to just fall right back into the steps of these dictators, of these horrible rulers. And it's like, it's just a message to society and humans that like, history will repeat itself, and it will just continue doing so unless we consciously make the effort to break the cycle. If we consciously make the effort to do better, then we will do better. But if you're just turning a blind eye, if you just let it happen, nothing's really gonna change. The rebellion's just gonna be like another oppression, but under a different name. And so that's it for today's episode. I'm really glad I chose to read Animal Farm, because it is a topic I'm very interested in. But overall, I think Animal Farm is a pretty good book, as in, like, it's very well written, has an amazing message, has a lot of symbolism, has a lot of parallels, and there's so many important values and morals and like lessons that we can take from Animal Farm. My overall rating is gonna be like a 3.7 out of 5, just because me personally, I didn't enjoy reading it that much. Like, I enjoyed like the story. I can appreciate a good story. I can appreciate when there's good writing, good story, good just like everything objectively. But like, with bias, with my own personal emotional preferences, I didn't really find Animal Farm as enjoyable as like other books I'm interested in. But it doesn't mean that Animal Farm isn't a good book. It just means that it's just not something really catered to my taste, and that's okay. I hope you're able to find this episode interesting. I hope I just hope it's interesting, and I hope you liked it, I guess. But I will see you next time.